at us doing a thing together.
Look at us doing a thing. Will there be a party about it? If there's a party about it, tag us in, baby. Whatever you need.
Celebrate.
Because that's the thing we'll do. We will celebrate you. I'm anti-bill for sure.
Anti-bill for sure. 110% of the time. It works every time. Hey, y'all. Welcome to the very first episode of Hustling with Harges. I'm Courtney, a theater maker, sewer, knitter, nonprofit strategist, and certified TV nerd. I've been obsessed with making things since I could hold a glue stick, and I'm here with my co-creator and real-life sibling.
What's good, y'all? I'm Tyrone. I'm a motion designer, 3D artist, animator, comic book junkie, and card-carrying film snob. And yes, I am the younger sibling, which means I bring the innovation and the petty.
Rude. This podcast is our creative living room, a space for deep convos, pop culture mess, entrepreneurial chaos, and sibling joy. We're talking about what it means to hustle with heart as two Black creatives with different styles and shared DNA.
We'll be covering everything from why your tech setup sucks to the moment you realize imposter syndrome is just you and your inner critic in a villain cosplay. And of course, we'll argue about cartoons, movies, and whatever nostalgia hits this week.
Whether you're a maker, a dreamer, a burnt out artist, or just nosy, this show's for you. Let's build something dope together. Let's thrive, laugh, and hustle a little smarter.
So pull up, subscribe, text your cousin, and let's get into hustling with Harges.
Look at us doing a thing together.
Look at us doing a thing.
Look
at us doing things.
We're doing things. So we're going to start by just telling you a little bit about who we are, both individually and together. Like I said, I'm Courtney. I've been working with artists my whole life, but professionally, like getting paid for it for the last 15 years. But I've always been around creative people. I've always wanted to be a creative person. Theater, dance, just art making has always just been a significant part of my life. And I love giving creative people the tools to do things that they find interesting, like to pull all of the magic and light and creativity in the world. And that has just really been my focus.
Yeah. I've been creating everything since I was like a kid. Like, I don't even like where I started creatively is like it's like a blur. Like everything I've always wanted to do. Like the thing that got me was watching Toy Story. Like when Dad took me and Petey, and I'm pretty sure you, to go see Toy Story, was the moment where I was like, oh, adults made this. This is what I want to do with the rest of my life. I'm like 6. So, but I've always, and growing up around Courtney has allowed me to grow up around creative people. So like seeing the things that she saw growing up was like heavily influenced me as a creative.
That makes me think of like the moment I knew I wanted to be a creative as a career. I started dancing when I was 3. I was in plays. We did creative stuff. It was always a thing, but I didn't truly consider it as a job. And we love movies. Maybe one day on the podcast, we'll tell the story about how we as a family got kicked out of a Blockbuster for, we were fine, but for dominating their trivia game where we got asked to leave because we kept winning the things. Like, we love media. We love film, like as a family. It's a thing we do together. But I always thought it was a thing, like it was a hobby. And like, then you got a real job. Like your real job is doctor, lawyer, engineer. And even though our family they aren't an immigrant family, that ideal still showed up where it's like, these are the real jobs. However, I was 13 and as part of a theater class I was in, shout out to Center for Arts and Sciences, now Saginaw, Michigan.
Sagging on the building.
Sagging on the building. I read For Color Girls Who've Considered Suicide When the Rainbow Is Enough by Ntozake Shinge.
Oh, nice.
And I remember reading that play and getting to the final words. I found God in myself and I loved her. I loved her fiercely. And I was like, oh,
this is it.
Somebody got paid to do, brought this into the world. And I remember, plays have where it was produced in the published plays in the front of the book. They put where it's produced. So I read it and I remember immediately opening it and reading that it was produced at the New Federal Theater and the Public Theater. And I was like, cool. Those are places I have to get to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever the places that birthed this thing that allowed this person to create this thing, to pull this into the world, to like be a theater maker.
Yeah.
It was great. Awesome. That's the job. That's how do I get to that? And over my 15-year career, I've managed to work with both of those entities.
That's awesome.
Which is great. In variety of in different capacities. Even in intern for one, I got to like do a project. Part of my thesis in grad school, I did some work with a New Federal Theater and Woody King. Shout out. But yeah, it was like, oh, this is it. This is the thing. Now I just got to figure out. Now that I know what the thing is, I just got to figure out how to do it. And that's easy.
And
right?
I think that's the thing that people struggle with is like finding the thing. Because once you find the thing, you're like, after that,
right now I just got to get there. Right?
I just got to get there.
Get me to it.
I also want to do a shout out to our parents for being the supportive, extremely analytical people that they are.
Gems, diamonds
in the rough. Okay,
pure-hearted.
For them to be like, we have these two beautiful, weird ass creative children, and we don't really know what to do, but they love it, so we gonna figure it out.
And I love our parents. Shout out to them. Brilliant, beautiful, amazing people who also were definitely like what are y'all doing?
What are y'all doing?
And if there's a way to be able to ask that question without judgment, it sounds judgmental, but it wasn't that. But they were just like, what are y'all out here talking about? Okay.
Like a giant collective, I guess.
Do y'all need it? Are y'all happy? Cool.
Great.
And I know a lot of folks who had like really rough conversations about what they do and had a whole lot of pushback and a whole lot like fight. And
especially creative. And we didn't have that.
No. And I'm just gonna name it. We just didn't have it. We don't have it now. They look at us and they're like, y'all got it? Are you being safe? Sure. Then
sure.
We have to, is it gonna cost us any money? Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes it is.
Like, all right, well, if we don't got it, we can't give it to you. The end. Like
and that was the end of it. And
the conversation gets really pragmatic. It gets really pragmatic.
They just fueled that flame. And the people around us fueled that flame. Like,
yeah, no, just super lucky to have
a
whole network of support of people who didn't necessarily get us.
Yeah.
But didn't feel like they had to get us to support us.
We just started. You were here dropping gems already.
But they did. Like, they didn't have to understand it to show up, celebrate. And was this a big deal for you? Then
it's a big deal for me.
Great. It's a big deal for me. Celebrate. Would there be a party about it? Then great. That's like, really.
That's really, will there be a party about it? If there's a party about it, tag us in, baby. Whatever you need.
Celebrate.
Because that's the thing we'll do. We will celebrate you.
Absolutely.
We will celebrate you.
Look at us.
Come on now. We making a real deal podcast. Like, come on now.
So why did we decide to start this podcast? Which is
because we're ridiculous.
That's the shortest answer.
And we wanted people to see how ridiculous we are.
Right. Yeah, it really is like we spend a lot of time together. And we get a lot of responses where folks are just like, we really like witnessing this sibling dynamic. And you didn't mute. That didn't help really at all, but we're fine. It wasn't recorded, but it definitely went thunk.
Damn.
Good times. I know people have said they like witnessing our sibling dynamic. And we like talking about both the art we're watching, the art we're making, the world in general. And we're like, well, what if we just got a podcast mic and made it happen? Also, some things that are important is that we do believe the earth is round. We do believe in vaccines.
Absolutely.
We also believe in, basic human rights and equity.
Yes.
We believe women are people.
100%.
Trans people are people.
Yes.
Right. All the positive things.
Yeah, we're getting it all at. We're getting all that out the way.
All of that. We believe in science. We believe in love is love. We believe in just we try to be anti-colonialist, anti-capitalist.
Yes.
Although these bills be due.
These bills be billing.
Be billing.
I'm anti-bill for sure.
Anti-bill for sure.
I'm anti-bill for sure.
So we consider all of that, not only our positive dynamic, but like with all of that, we felt like more qualified than like 80% of podcasters.
I feel like that, yeah.
Just with a basic belief in around Earth and science. And now we were like, why not?
Why not?
Why not? Let's do it. So we decided to start this podcast just to see what we could do with some dedicated time and energy.
Why not is pretty much my creative journey.
Right.
Yeah, I got nothing for you. That's why we started this podcast.
Right. That's it. What does hustling mean to us? I'm gonna let you take this one first.
Hustling means to me the willingness to do what you need to do what you want to do.
Tell it.
Like I saw this thing on Instagram, which I'm sure is toxic and awful in its own special way. But this dude ended his podcast segment or whatever it was. But he said, if you want to shop without looking at the price tag, you got to work without looking at the clock. And that really stuck with me. That really stuck with me. And I think hustling is just, we grew up with our father, who I love dearly, would hit you with if you were struggling, he would hit you with a pimp or die.
Pimp or die, absolutely.
Pimp or die. Are you willing to do what you need to do or die?
I want to be clear. This is the gentlest man.
Gentlest.
It was not. There's no threat in it. It's more just you got to do it. You got
human being. This man cries at Love Actually. Okay, this is the sweetest man.
Can't get
on the planet.
Kid running through the airport will get us every time. It'll
get him every time.
Every time, 110% of the time, it works every time.
You want to get him sad? Throw on Love Actually. Throw on like Notting Hill or like 28 Weeks. Like
it's a good one. I love a rom-com with my dad.
It's great.
But
there. He would always
your mom over there in Horrorville watching the terrifying things. Dad and I are over in the other room.
Ain't nobody dying in this movie.
She loved him.
But he would have these sayings. And I say would, he does. He still says these things.
Right.
But like things of like, what would you walk across an I-beam for?
Oh yeah. Thanks to the folks at Franklin Mint for that one.
Yeah.
Priorities walking across an I-beam.
So
yes.
Hustling to me is like, what am I walking across this I-beam for? Like the goal is yes at the end of the I-beam, but the hustling is every step towards that goal. And it just sometimes you slip, man. It sucks, but
Sometimes you got to start over.
You got to start over.
And like, sometimes, yeah, you just got to start over, and you just walk across that I-beam again.
Absolutely. Hustling has gotten a bad rap in the last, I don't know, 5 to 10 years or whatever. It's like shifted.
Yeah.
Where hustling, has really been shifted or kind of pushed into like, this hustle culture, the idea of like grind culture, or the idea of hustling is about pushing yourself like to the limit in ways that are unhealthy, unhelpful to your community, unhelpful to your psyche. Like, and that was never what hustling meant to me. So when I was in grad school 10 years ago, yikes. Time.
Right. That bitch keep moving on.
It really do. Stay trucking, baby. So when I was in grad school, particularly toward the end of grad school, I was exhausted. And so like, because my grad program was a weekend program for just under 2 years. And
I remember that. Yeah.
And so that meant you could I was working part to full time. I was like shifting, I was holding a few different gigs. And so Monday through Friday working, trying to do schoolwork at some point, then Saturday and Sunday. And the weekend programs were like 2 full days, something. It was like 8:30 to 5 or 8:30 to 6 Saturday and Sunday. So there you could have stretches where I had like 12 to 13 days, no break.
Oof.
Long days and then schoolwork in between. And so I was trying to just stay motivated. I needed a mantra that like got me to keep going. And so that's when I came up with the hashtag and just the mantra, hustling keeps you sexy.
Sexy. Fantastic.
Right?
The birth of HKYS.
Of HKYS, hustling keeps you sexy, because I was like, all right, it was just the motivator. It wasn't about, extracting or taking anything down. It wasn't about hustling at all costs. It was just like, I want to be sexy. I want to get to this degree. I want to, and it was really important to me that it wasn't hustling makes you sexy. It wasn't like, no, sexy is already a thing.
I'm already
sexy. It's inherent. It's the truth, right? That's already the fact. This is about maintenance, baby. This is about, right. This is about maintenance.
This is about maintenance.
But keeping it together. And so taking the hustle as the motivation, as the drive to just move forward, as the drive to keep going, as the drive to both take care of yourself while you're doing it, and to, even if you aren't fully supported in it at that moment, even if you're feeling tired or whatever, it's about taking that step to keep going, to maintain the sexy.
You got to maintaining the sexy.
Right. And so the hustle, again, was never about like extractive capitalism. It was never about taking advantage of folks. It was not about no sleep culture. It was about like using that momentum to take that one more step, using momentum to like do the one more thing, right? To keep it going a little bit, to add a little bit more just beyond your motivation to get to the next level of what you're trying to do.
Courtney, that's really fucking beautiful, man.
Thank you, bro.
That's really beautiful. I don't know. Yeah, I got nothing for that. That's solid.
That's it. So yeah, so that's what the hustle means to me
right now. So be on the lookout for the book, Hustling Keeps You Sexy.
Keeps you sexy, right? But it's real, because I was never about like, again, hustling to destroy something. Like there's this really destructive like grind culture, no new friends. No, I'm not trying to do that.
I'm all about new friends.
I'm all about new friends. I love friends.
I love friends.
But again, hustling was the motivation again, like to do that, to take that one more step, to do that one more thing, to like activate who you are, who you want to be.
And I know that this is siblings, but I once again want to shout out the parental units of not pushing the sense of like, for you to be good, somebody has to lose.
Right.
They've always just been like, No, you just be good.
Just be good.
And everything else will be okay.
Yeah. Shout out to their collective energy. Because they really were very much like, it's not about beating folks. Can you be the best? And can you be the best and keep your integrity?
That's the thing.
It was very clear for them. Like, how good is this an ugly win? Sometimes you get an ugly win, right?
Sometimes you get an
Sometimes
ugly
the win's
win.
not pretty, but it really is about like, can you win and keep your integrity? Because everybody can cheat.
Yeah. For those who don't know, our father is a giant sports fan.
Huge.
But what he appreciates more than talent and championships is sportsmanship. Do you win properly?
Right.
And when you lose, do you lose properly? Are we still shaking hands at the end of the game? That's the most important thing to him about is okay, you won, but then you like stepped over somebody to win. So you didn't really win.
You didn't win.
And that's a thing that we have just been ingrained in us.
Yeah, because if you win, because to me, this is the petty part. You can't win and gloat if you cheated.
If you cheated,
earn it.
You didn't earn it.
And I want if I'm gonna have a win, and I'm not even competitive, y'all. Like, you'll find out. I'm not that competitive. I do like to win. I don't necessarily like to beat people, which I know feels like a contrast, but that's just what's up.
That's a separate podcast.
We'll talk about that later. But I do like to win. But when I win, I want to celebrate. I want a victory lap. I want everything the winners get. I want all of it. And I want all of it. I want to sit in it. It's my winnings.
I'm talking about in it. Okay, that's what I want.
I want to sit in my winnings without guilt, without remorse. And if I didn't do it well or right or whatever, and I can't do that, and nothing makes me madder than a win I can't enjoy. Nothing.
Nothing makes me madder than a win I can't enjoy.
It don't work for me, y'all. I want to win it. And I want to sin it.
Gyms this morning. We just started. This is our first episode. We coming out the gate.
Coming out running, swinging. Oh, ridiculous. With that, Tara, what can listeners expect from our future episodes?
Nonsense. That's what they can expect. Nonsense. With a hint, we're gonna get you right.
Right.
We're gonna get you right. But there's gonna be a lot of tomfoolery in the middle of that.
Much foolery.
So
much foolery. He's gonna upgrade to Thomas M. Foolery.
Thomas M. Foolery Esquire. Okay.
That's who we're gonna be dealing with.
Pre-PhD.
Shout out Robin Thede. But for real,
bring back Black
Lady Sketch Show. Yeah, classic. So good.
What people can expect is like us discussing our creative processes and like the things that like we have either been like creatively inspired by or creatively blocked by. We talk about all types of things. We talk about like film and animation and video games and all types of media and cool stuff. But also we talk about like also creative siblings that live in the world.
Right.
That we want to celebrate.
Right.
If they're worth celebrating.
Right. We might just comment
on y'all.
Yikes. We got
it. Step up. What about you, Corey? What do you think people can expect from the future episodes?
Great question. I mean, it's gonna evolve, right?
Yeah.
We do have some funny kind of segments planned. We're also going to include some practical, like creative tips, just things for like around entrepreneurship, around marketing, branding, just art stuff. Like we've been making things. I wish I could be more specific, but we've just been making things for the majority of our lives. Like I said, I've been working in particularly the nonprofit arts and culture space for 15 years. We talked to a lot of creative people about their process. And so we're going to share some of the tools and resources and just experiences that we've gained from that. We're going to learn more about each other. Like, we get to we spend a lot of time together. We are, siblings. We live together, and it's been, I know him, but it's also like we don't get to actually work together a lot.
Yeah.
And so we're excited to learn more about each other as creative collaborators as the future episodes go. So
that's the thing I didn't think about. Yes, the ability to learn each other as we work with each other and still get to be silly.
Yep.
Because I don't know if I could do this and we had to be serious about it.
Serious is not. That's not.
It's hard. It's hard to be serious all the time.
We're good at our jobs, but we aren't serious.
I'm not serious.
I don't like it. All right. And our last kind of introductory question, and we're going to dive more deeper into why we do all the things we do. Just what's something unexpected we've learned from each other creatively? Ooh. Am I going first? Are we going to wait?
Yeah.
Awkward sibling stare.
Something I've learned from you creatively is the ability that you have to be as analytical as you are creative. I don't know people that can use both sides of the brain to the extent that Courtney uses both sides of her brain. Like people talk about like, you only use 10% of the brain at a time. No. Courtney uses like 35% of her brain at one time. And she'll just be like, so I did this I knitted this jacket. And I also made a spreadsheet of all the things that I've ever made in my life. And I did it all in 6 hours. I'm like, what? It took me 2 hours to get out of bed. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
That is so very kind, Joseph. I appreciate that.
I got blurred out. I couldn't be seen.
Oh no, we lost you. Don't go into the void. No, what have I learned from Tyrone? First, that's very kind, and I appreciate being seen in that way. Aw.
Well, you're welcome.
Thank you. But something unexpected I learned about Tyrone. One is that I don't see the world in 3D at all. Like, truthfully,
that's because your brain's broken.
My brain, maybe it is broken. Like the ability to access like analytics versus creativity, like that's great. But like Tyrone sees in 3D, and I get we're humans, we see in 3D, but like his ability to like build an object, he'll just come in and he'll show me a thing. Like it looks like a picture, and I'll be like, "Why are you showing me this jar of a cosmetic product?" And he was like, "No, I built that from scratch." And I was like, "Wait, what? I don't understand." And it's just a picture of face cream. And it's like, "No, that doesn't exist. I manifested it out of computer somehow." And I don't quite get what that means.
I'm tech
like, but he's like, "No, there was blank computer. There is no cosmetics jar. I just thought it and made it. I don't know, just something about water heaters. I don't know what it means to construct in 3D. And as I said, I'm a knitter and a sewer. I understand what it means to take string and turn it into a sweater. Like my brain understands that. But to take computer and turn it into like a dinosaur, that doesn't make sense to me. And so sometimes I'll watch him like building and rendering things and words I'm sure I'm saying out of context. And, and just
I know some of these words.
And it'll be clicking buttons and levers and numbers. And it's fun watching because I have no idea what I'm seeing.
Looking like Oz.
It really is. Looking like him pulling levers. I feel like there's a wheel somewhere. But it's amazing just to see the amount of work. And he'll be like, he'll put in math and out comes a superhero. And I'm like, that is dope as hell. And so just being able to think of like, how can things move in the world? How do things exist in like 3D space?
Yeah.
It's definitely something I've learned creatively from him.
Well, I appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you.
Look at us. Look at us being appreciative and such.
Something. Well, thank you for listening to our
right. If y'all made it this long, shout out to y'all.
Shout out to y'all.
Good.
Because we learned some things about each other.
We learned something about each other.
And we're gonna dive a little deeper into why we do this, more just about who we are and what our creative origin stories are. Like we've told you a little bit, but we want to just like go into some of the things, especially since our inaugural episode, you get a lot of the like lore ahead of time. Look at that.
Yes. I love a good world building episode.
Yeah. So we're here to like tell you a bit about us. What were we like as kids?
This, yes. But smaller.
Real.
But smaller.
Yeah.
What I'm going to say is what it was like being a kid around Courtney.
Aww.
So being a kid, so we're 6 years apart. Yes. Okay. I had to do the math in my head.
Clearly the baby.
Clearly. I'm the oldest. We're 6 years apart, and Courtney was always the coolest person I knew. Aww. So when she would do stuff, I would want to do stuff with her. And as what you would hear in 80s sitcoms or in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Courtney would let me come with her on stuff, which was awesome.
Again, I'm gonna interject one super thank you, bro. Mm-hmm. Two, our parents were really good at making sure I never
shout out to them.
This is about the elder Harges. This is their podcast. But shout out to them because they never parentified me. I didn't have to watch as a younger sibling. I wasn't responsible for Tyrone's care. It wasn't a job.
Oh, parentified.
That's a whole.
It's a new
word
for me. I gotta write that down.
What do I say? But that's a whole concept. But a lot of people parentify their older children, particularly there's cultures of particularly older girl children, to be kind of a third parent. And our parents were really clear. Again, I didn't know what the word was as a youth, but they were very clear on that. Like, no, we're his parents. We had another kid.
Yes.
It's not your job to be his parent. Yes, you're going to be in healthy relationship to him, right? Right? We're going to be here.
Occasionally, just some stranger in the
house. He's going to I'm going to be invested in his care, but taking care of my younger brother was never my responsibility, which meant that hanging out with my younger brother was always fun.
Yeah.
Right? It didn't have to, because it wasn't a job. And so sometimes I could be like, nah, we're going to do things that big kids are going to do. But it wasn't like a job. I would
mad.
Hurt his feelings. But sometimes you just want to be with your friend. Sometimes
I would be
not that Tyrone isn't my friend, but especially, the difference between 12 and 18 is a big deal.
That's significant.
Or, 9 and 15. Those are different worlds. So sometimes you just want to go hang out with fellow 15-year-olds. But I realized I cut you off. And so we're going to go back to Tyrone telling me how great I am. Great.
So y'all be prepared. This is the shit I got to deal with. This is what I've dealt with for 35 years. Is this.
Right.
But no, what taught me that you could become a creative adult was Courtney becoming a creative adult in front of my eyes. Was even though we're 6 years apart, there was a point in time where we were at the same school. And so I got to see her, how she grew and matured as not only my sister, but as a person, but as a creative, which is a thing that we did not see growing up. So to see Courtney become this oh no, I am a creative and this is the way I'm going to be creative was super empowering for me.
Awesome. That's very sweet.
Don't tell nobody though. Keep
we'll
that to yourself.
Right. This is private.
That's just between us.
Right. The podcasties.
And our potential thousands of listeners.
Right. But the three of you who listen right now,
right? Don't tell nobody. Because I know who you are.
Like, I remember being I was an only child for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And
then the best thing happened to you.
Yes. But for real though, like, I didn't understand people who longed for, like, not having something. Like, I didn't want to go back to, I very much enjoyed the 6 years as an only kid. And then you showed up and I was like, oh, great. Now we're settled. We're in it now. Like, this is my brother. Like, this is my homie forever. The end.
My man, 50 grand.
My man, 50 grand.
It would be 100 grand, but times are tough.
We're in a recession. No, so like one of the things I remember is like, okay, so when Tyrone before he was walking, he had this walker, and he was in it. You know, you put the babies in the walker. I don't know. It feels like they would be kind of illegal right now because those things just
those things are totally illegal now,
right? But you put the kid in the walker and it's on wheels, and they just
you just let him go.
Tyrone, before he could walk, Tyrone just ran in that thing. Like, he never went slow speed. He didn't like toddle. He got in it and he would just whoosh everywhere. You got to watch your angles. You got to watch it low. But there was this Christmas where, for whatever reason, we had these giant tubes of wrapping paper.
Okay.
And you were probably too young to remember this, but we ended up creating, like, because of this giant tube of wrapping paper, it was a cardboard tube, but it was probably like, it probably had a diameter of like 5-6 inches. No, it was very big. I can't remember. Right. Yeah. It was like, it was very long. And so you could rest it on the table of the walker, like, because again, the walker is the baby in the middle, table kind of all around.
Yeah.
For them, and they're on wheels. And so you can rest it on it. And so then we played with it because Tyrone was literally a tank because he run and it looked like he had the gun coming out of the front and he would just zoom through and we were like dodging. That's one of the reasons why Tank became one of my nicknames. My grandmother used it the most, but she saw him in that point. But it was just, we would just get together and like hang out.
Yeah.
With whatever was available. So it was cardboard tubes and, you know, Christmas. I'm sure we got gifts that Christmas, but
I'm sure
the fun thing was we were just chasing each other, trying to dodge the tank. It was like moving around.
And this is going to become a theme at least on this episode. Shout out to the big Harges for curating and just allowing us to be who we are, because I know a lot of people who did not let their children be who they are. They're my niggas for real.
Right. Shout out to the big Harges.
Shout out to the big Harges. But yes, I've always been a film snob. I remember watching Pulp Fiction and I'm like 8. So, which is, I definitely should not have been watching.
I know we're going to say this again. Shout out to the parents, because they would much rather just talk to us about the adult themes in a movie or like what was inappropriate. Like they would have this conversation with us over just removing it from our viewing.
Yes.
Right. Like they would be like, we shouted out our dad earlier. I know we shouted out them as a unit, shouting out my mom specifically because like my mom, and something I've inherited from her is that like, she doesn't want to be bored.
Come on now.
I don't know. And nobody, I get that very few people, nobody wants to be bored. Right. But my mom, like children's stuff, is a huge horror fan, and like children's stuff, particularly stuff that was like too simple, just bored her.
Yeah.
And so she, as a parent, didn't like the notion of the only way to be a good parent was to watch boring nonsense. Like she rejected that, like fundamentally. And so she would much rather engage with her kids about what you're watching, even if it's not necessarily age appropriate.
Yeah.
than be bored watching, I don't know, Caillou, which didn't exist then.
Yeah, which didn't exist then.
Or,
And
Cocomelon or whatever. Like,
I've been saying it. It was the 90s. It was a wild time.
It was a wild time.
It was a wild time.
And so because of that, though, like we were able to watch, I think I was 10, maybe 12 the first time I saw The Godfather, and we like talked about it.
We talked about what
it was and like what makes it a great film and like why it's interesting, and like they would rather just have those conversations about what's like contextually appropriate than they would have to watch stuff that introduced themes that made them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Or they felt like they were like, no, let's talk about what is that? Why is that?
Yeah. What are things you can't see? Like why? Okay, this is why you can't say this. This is,
right.
It was just.
Yeah, it was real. And so because of that, I think we got a lot of media literacy.
Yeah.
And the ability to engage with like thoughtfully with like whatever media we're engaging with.
Yeah. The development of taste at like such a crazy young age is wild.
Watching the stories.
Like just watching stories, like being 11, watching Requiem for a Dream and
yikes.
And being terrified.
I don't know if I definitely wasn't 11 when I watched Requiem for a Dream, but being able to watch like hard stuff.
Yeah. Like hard stuff.
Allowed us, I think, to just engage thoughtfully, and they weren't just like
also probably why I am attracted to older women. This is a different type of
film. This is right.
But like,
maybe not. We're not gonna talk about that, but we're here.
Earliest crush is fucking Sally Richardson.
I mean,
yes, but all, like
Blow Down Dirty Shame, classic.
Like,
classic. Ridiculous. I think we've talked a lot about some of the things we've created together.
Yeah.
I think we should talk about how our creative lives evolved in different directions.
Okay. Would you like to start that?
Sure. So we talked about the age gap, right?
Yeah.
Just being 6 years apart. 6 years, particularly as we get older, is smaller.
Yeah.
But in those developmental years, like I said, the difference between 18 and 12 or the difference between even 21 and 15 is different. Also, I think the years matter a bit. And so we're talking about the difference between 1984 and 1990.
Yeah.
And so like for as an example, I was in the second or maybe third year where they introduced like emails in undergrad, right? But the idea of those being required didn't exist.
It didn't exist, yeah.
I am of the AOL Instant Messenger, RIP to a real one.
RIP to AIM.
Where it's like chat rooms and like that part of the internet, but I was a full adult-ish. I was legally an adult. It was, I think, Facebook came to University of Michigan, where I went to undergrad, I believe sophomore year. So it would have been 1920.
Okay.
So
it's like 2004.
No, that's 2004.
2004.
Because it was Harvard. We were in the like second round because Zuckerberg knew somebody in Michigan.
Nice.
Anyway, but I'm saying like so that 6 years. So like that's where I was in college with social media literally becoming a thing. But then by the time 6 years later, by the time Tyrone gets into college, or gets going to art school, so that would be 2008. If I graduated high school in 2002, 2008. So like the difference between 2002 and 2008
is significant.
Is a real thing. Is a very different. It's a really different world, And so part of our development is, I think, mirrors that, like part of our creative development, like the idea of a career in video games, like didn't really exist. It didn't really exist when Tyrone was young, but like it wasn't a thing that happened At least that nobody we knew quite had the vision for it at that point. Let alone having a program to make them.
Yeah.
I've always loved video games. And I joke that I like video games, but I'm not like of video games. Like I wouldn't call myself a gamer. Although now they have a name for the type of gamer I am, which is a cozy gamer.
You're a cozy gamer. Yes.
Which I didn't, but that didn't exist.
I didn't know because there was like a casual gamer.
There were casual gamers and I would do that. But I'm somebody who I love Mario. I love the Assassin's Creed series, which is such a weird contrast. Those are two things that I love.
Wild,
I love anything Mario is. I love anything Mario is in. I'm a Nintendo girl for real. I also love the Assassin's Creed series, although I haven't played the newest one enough. You can talk about that. It's just time.
It's a great journey.
Because being an adult means there's so much less time for video game activities. And so, so theater was always like my creative journey. That's just where I started and always loved the live theatrical experience and like spent a lot of time and I went to college for acting, started theater companies, worked for theaters, have been in the arts and culture sector for the longest time. And so my creative journey has always been about kind of what are live in-person spaces.
Yeah.
And then I switched to, I still want to make theater, but theater is so deeply collaborative. I needed to find a creative outlet that was individual. And so then that's when I became interested in sewing and knitting specifically, where I could like carry a thing and do something creative without having to like employ 10 people and rent a rehearsal space.
Because, I mean, who has the money?
Plus money, time, like scheduling is the death of me. So it was like, I need to be able to make something that isn't dependent on somebody else's participation. Yeah. And so that's how my creativity has evolved a bit. Yeah. And getting to do that, like Tyrone and I haven't, like there was a 10-year gap where we were living across the country from each other. And so that's also part of how our creativity moved in different directions. Like just because we were in very different environments.
Yes.
Doing
different things.
And with different influences and experiences. So it became like, we stayed in touch. It was always just like we were just operating just on different spaces.
Yeah. I guess when it comes to video games, I'm the opposite. I am definitely of the games, as they say. Like I went to school for animation to make video games. Like I've always wanted to make video games. I've always wanted to be involved in the entertainment industry, specifically on the digital, like CGI, VFX side of things. And I got the opportunity to work in gaming as a quality assurance tester for Activision, which was really cool, but extremely brutal and not a creative outlet. It is definitely the more analytical side of the industry, which I was fine, but it wasn't a thing I was like, okay, like this is definitely like a stepping stone for me. And I think what really gets me, because, like you said, a career in video games didn't exist until like 10 years ago, like realistically, like 10 years ago. And so I had always loved video games for its storytelling capabilities. Like, yes, it's fun and everything, but it's just like a medium for storytelling. And I think I feel the same way about animation. Like animation is just a vehicle. That's not a word. A vehicle for storytelling.
Broken.
My brain just turned off.
Like, what is that?
But like the inner workings of like, because they all relate, especially how I am creatively, is that everything deals in 3D. And so the skills are transferable from like film to TV to video games to like short films, from feature films. It's all transferable because it all kind of works within the same program. And so once I found that out, it was a wrap. That was it for me. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do. And everything I've done has kind of been a stepping stone or a a launch pad to get me to where I feel like I am today.
Fantastic. Speaking of today, what are we passionate about creating now and why?
I guess I'll go first on this one. So in college, me and two other of my friends, Dee and Corey, who aren't siblings, but they are my brothers, we started an animation studio called Juice Studios, which is an acronym for Just Us Inspiring Change Everywhere.
I did not know that was an acronym.
That's fantastic.
I didn't know how many years I didn't know Juice. You said that's what it's called. That's what it's called. Yeah.
And so it's an acronym. And so we tell people to get juiced because we do it daily. But we started because we wanted to make cartoons that look like people with us. That was just like very black and
like black.
Blackity black,
y'all.
black.
Black y'all. Black,
Yes.
y'all. Don't sue us CB4. So sorry. Okay.
Oh, CB4. Be prepared for that. This is going to be just a giant movie reference. So just be prepared for that.
We're ready.
But like, we're creating our own original IPs, like Epic Flower Sack, which is like our flagship one, which is what I am devoting 90% of my life to. But then there are other ones, like we have a show that we're developing called Instruments of War, which like brought us together. There is, Dee is working on a show called Red Beans and Rights, which is about a detective in Louisiana. Corey has a show called Baker Street, which is about the street he grew up in Lansing. Like, we are just all using our gifts and our community to build something that is bigger than us. We're planting trees that we will never probably see the shade of. So
somebody will eat this fruit. Amazing. So I'm passionate right now about creating a few things. But I've recently launched an independent consulting practice called Harge Advisory Hub, making it work. And ideally want to help mission-driven orgs of any size work in more sustainable, community-driven ways using technology and just like some practical solutions. And I'm not just talking about financially sustainable, although preach, we want it. Because capitalism is doing everything, but sustainable in ways that allow folks to more effectively and thoughtfully like exchange with their communities. Like, how can we use our collective brilliance, energy, ideas to like make the world a better place?
Yeah.
Because working in arts and culture, working with creative people, like there's just immense capacity to build something out of nothing. And it's like, so imagine if these people who are building something out of nothing could in fact have something to build. What could they build? If they could build something out of something, right? And so Charge Advisory Hub is really about how do we let people really understand the resources they have? How do we look at the assets we already have and make choices from an abundant space as opposed to from this lacking space?
Yes, abundance.
Yes, abundance. And as I said, like my creative making has really focused into like knitting, sewing, and clothing specifically.
Textiles,
good old fiber arts. Mostly because it's one, I just like clothes. Clothing and knitting and sewing clothing is like solving a puzzle, but at the end of it, you get something you can wear. So it like scratches that same part of my brain.
Yeah.
It's also like, look, as the plus size woman, as a Black woman, as a queer woman, there's so many ways in which the world tells me that like I'm not desirable. I'm not. I need to fix my body in order to wear clothes.
Yeah.
I need to hide all those messages, and like fuck those messages. That's not true. But sewing clothes allows me to be like, no, this thing just needs to fit. It's not the body that needs to change; it's the clothes that needs to change.
Clothes needs to change,
right? And I can make clothes that fit. And And that really helps inform how I like step into the world. And it just allows me to see that like what other people think about me and none of my business. Like that's a you problem.
Go ahead and say that again for the people in the back, please.
Yes. What other people think about me is none of my business. That's a you problem. I know how to feel about me. And making clothes just helps reaffirm that. Like I can take the types of risks I want in clothing I want. I can show as much or as little skin as I want. I can like really present myself in the world in the way that I want to present myself. And that is what I'm super passionate about owning. It's about really owning how I go out into the world.
Courtney, you're just a beautiful human being.
Aw, thanks, bro. I feel the same way about you.
And I'll lie if anybody asks me if I said that in real life.
No, we're gonna coordinate. That's gonna be the cold open where it's just you saying nice things about me.
No. It doesn't get to be that because I'm the editor. So it's just gonna be me.
No, it was just like every nice thing you said about me, just in a one of those super cuts. I'm gonna put that on YouTube. Last question before we get into our 2 segments. I know we've been able to talk a lot today and it's been fun. Yeah. But what does it look like when we support each other's work today? You know, we've talked about this podcast as some of it, and just the ways we get to like share work. But
so the beautiful thing about living together is that I can just kick Courtney's door in and just be like, hey, come look at this. I can just, hey, check this out.
That is really like, that is what 99% of the support looks like. Where it's just like one of us walking into the other's room and being like, hey, you're not doing nothing.
You're not doing nothing.
Look at this. Think about this. I had this idea in the middle of the night. Talk to me about it.
Talk to me about it.
I was doing something. It's like, it don't matter. Look,
it don't matter. You got 5 minutes.
You got 5 minutes? What you got?
Or it's like us sitting on the couch, like doing a TikTok, Instagram review.
Oh yes,
and like that supports that also supports like a good healthy separation. Like we're not just like it's not always work,
right?
And you know it's kind of like 90% us being silly,
right? And for people who don't necessarily do the Instagram review, like it's
a wonderful thing.
It's great. Instagram, TikTok. And so, you know,
right.
I don't know how many group chats you all are in, but people send you things, right?
Yes.
And while we talk a lot and we live together, we also have a few different threads where we send each other ridiculous reels and TikTok videos and all the things. But, you know, it's a busy day. You don't have the chance all the time to review them in real life. And so sometimes, particularly after dinner, we'll sit down and be like, hey, I sent you all these things. Let's review all the things I sent you today to make sure. It becomes just a recap where we go back through the silly moments of the day. Absolutely. I strongly suggest if you have somebody who you connect with, having an Instagram review, because it's a great way to see all the memes and then they don't build up.
And it's a great way to stay in shape.
Oh my God. Points to you if you know that reference.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to introduce 2 of our recurring segments today.
Ooh.
I know.
We're like a real radio show.
Look at us having segments. And so the first segment in our, you know, we're going to have a slew of rotating segments. So it may not be the same every episode.
That means you got to come back and listen.
But we are going to have some. And so these are sibling superlatives.
I got cutest in high school. So
good for you. I don't remember because high school was.
That's why I peaked. That's why I remember.
That's why you remember.
That's why I peaked.
I can't remember what that was. Maybe I'll look. Maybe we'll see.
I'm sure it was biggest head.
Whack. All right.
We have fun here.
All right. So this is Sibling Superlatives. It's where we hand out ridiculous awards based on our own chaotic lives, pop culture moments, or whatever foolishness is trending. Because yes, someone here is most likely to cry over a Pixar montage.
It's me. I don't feel bad about it whatsoever.
Actually,
argue with your mama.
I don't know. Because I still remember I wept and wept.
Oh,
just wept. So I don't know. It might be a tie.
Oh.
All right, here's our first question. It is, I guess, goes with that. Who is most likely to cry over a cartoon?
Okay, but what's the cartoon though?
Right. See, this is the question. Right. This is
what's the cartoon?
We're not going to be able to award any superlatives because we don't know the answer. Because, like, again, if you don't cry at the Good Dinosaur,
you're a monster.
You're a monster. You have no soul.
You're a monster, and you're going to be taken away by the people police.
Right. You have no spirit. That should be the only psychopath test they have or whatever. Watch this
Just play the good
play
the good dinosaur.
How do you feel at the end of it? If you're like, that was fine, that person
is a demon.
There's just, I don't know.
I don't make the rules. No, but it absolutely depends. Because, like, when Coco starts singing, and like, you know, when Wally, when you know,
nope, just don't even. It's there. All right, but we watched Arcane. I didn't cry at Arcane.
I didn't cry at Arcane. No, I'm not gonna lie. I cried a little bit.
There might have been a moment, but like I know some people did.
When Powder blows up the warehouse and Vi punches her, and she just breaks down and cries in my man's arms. It's hard for me. I'm not gonna sit here and say, but like,
had a thug tear.
You know, when they kidnap Appa from Avatar.
That's not right. It's not right.
Not okay.
You can't do that.
So, I get it.
Most likely, it does depend over a cartoon. It does depend on the cartoon. Depends on the context.
Yes.
But I think we're we are in fact
equally likely to
cry. Yeah. I think different things will get us there.
Yeah. Yeah. I can agree. I can share this with you.
But I think I think we're gonna, but we are probably equally likely to cry over cartoon.
Yeah.
Whack. All right. Who's most likely to abandon a project halfway through and start 3 more?
First of all, you too damn loud.
I also think this is a both of us situation. I think just on the map, it's Tyrone.
It's me.
Tyrone is.
No, it's me.
Is this one? But
it's me.
It's not an easy win. Huh?
It's not an easy win.
It's not an easy win because I'm looking at the half-finished sweater right now. Right now.
Looking at you like, what's that, Medea? She don't see us. She don't see us.
She don't see us over here. I'm like, there are 3 things in the living room in my sewing space right now that need to get finished. So I can't.
Right.
But I think my average on finishing things is a little
higher. A little higher.
Right. But like professionally, I see a lot of projects through. I'm good at follow through. But if this project is like just mine and it's not, nobody needs it, it's just the thing I'm doing, I'll definitely put that bad boy down for a minute and come back. I do come back though. I actually will
come back.
I am good at the return.
Yeah.
We'll pick up a project like a year and a half later. But yes, so Tyrone, you got that. Most likely to abandon our project halfway through and start 3 more.
Yeah, I own that. That's me.
It's really, you got it.
And I'm okay with that. That's what Epic is. Epic started as D-Val's project that I hopped on.
Pick it up and then you change, and we do. And so we come back, but we do finish.
Sometimes. Eventually.
We're getting together. We're making it work.
Right.
Speaking of loud questions.
Hopefully people hear this podcast.
They will. We're going to do it. We're in it. We're ready. But speaking of loud questions, who gives better advice but doesn't follow it themselves?
First of all, your mama. How about that? Prompt. All the advice I've given, I've gotten from Courtney. So.
I do. All right. Look, I give good advice. I'm starting my own consulting firm. I recognize I give good advice. I do take most of it. But it's not 100%. It's not 100%. It's not an offer. It's not 100%.
It's not 100%.
Not 100%. It is. I recognize it's good advice. I try to follow good advice. I try to make good choices. I can't promise I do
all the time
everything that I think one should do.
I don't think I follow my advice. I think I give good advice. Granted, it's just regurgitated Courtney advice, but it's still good advice. That doesn't take away the goodness of it.
Advice doesn't change.
However, comma. I don't think there are times where I'm like, I told this person do this, but I'm absolutely not doing that. So I think 2 out of 3 I'll take.
Right. I'll take. Wait, you should hope that still be yours. That's my advice.
No, it's mine. It's
Whack. Fine. Well, we like to end sibling superlatives with our sibling of the week. So these are notable siblings, famous, fictional, or funny, or all three, that we just want to shout out. Also, as this is our inaugural episode, we want to offer a special shout out to our 2 favorite sets of creative siblings. And they are one, Debbie Allen and Felicia Rashad.
That's right.
And Jaden and Willow Smith.
Absolutely.
Yes. So one day, either or both of these pairs will appear on this very show. We're like manifesting it. And so this is day one.
Day one.
Of what we're calling our dynamic duo of dynamic duos countdown.
Love it.
But the siblings we want to shout out this week are Tyrone, I'll let you go first.
My fictional one is T'Challa and Shuri of Black Panther and the Marvel property. They are, to me, quintessential siblings.
Excellent. That's an excellent shout out. My shout out are real siblings. Tasha and Sidra Smith.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Actor, producer, twins doing all things. Just
some say siblings prime are the
right. Prime siblings, proto siblings. But just shout out to them. Also, Tasha Smith doing awesome things in Survival of the Thickest.
Yes.
Sidra out there just being fine and brilliant and awesome. Just making, producing great
just
things.
One fine person, you're like, man, I would like to see this person again. Oh my God.
Right? And they did that. So our sibling shout out, our fictional sibling shout out is
T'Challa and Shuri. Love them.
T'Challa and Shuri. And our real sibling shout out are Tasha and Sidra Smith. Shout out to them. Next segment.
My favorite segment. I love the name of this segment. It's everything.
Classic.
Everything.
It is Work Harge, Play Harge.
Damn right it is.
And so Work Harge, Play Harge is quick tips to get you through the week with a little bit more strategy, a little more joy, and just enough mess. So they're smart, could be petty. It's always useful.
Maybe.
And so this Work Harge, Play Harge segment is about creative boundaries. So what's one creative boundary that changed everything for you?
Creative boundary that changed everything for me. It's not creative, but it is sticking with the price that I give.
There you go.
Because I am notorious for being like, what you got in your pocket right now? I am notorious for just being like, all right, it's on me. So sticking to your price on some Fat Joe, yesterday's price is not tomorrow's price.
Absolutely.
Okay, you have to stick to your price. You have to know your worth and add tax. And when I did that, it solidified me. People stopped. One, I stopped chasing people for money, which was extremely helpful. But what it did to me, it was the thing I didn't realize, is that people thought of me as an expert in my field because I would have this price and I wouldn't budge. And then people would be like, okay, well, this is the price then. And either they take it or not. That's not up to me. But to have a set price and then this is your price. This is what you, for your service, that's your boundary. QTQP, man, quality time with quality people.
Yes. Real life. I like that.
Yeah.
Mine really was like on some big red. Mine
like office hours are from
9 to 5. Being really clear about when my working hours were and when I was available to other people, right?
Come on now.
And it's just been really helpful because even if I could step outside of those availability hours, being really clear to communicate that. It's like, hey, this is when I normally do this. I'm going to make this exception.
Yeah.
For this moment because I want to, being really clear about making if I'm making an exception, I'm doing it because I want to.
Because I want to, yeah.
Because, really exercising my autonomy in that space. But like setting the boundary around this is when I'm available to you to work, to do these things.
Yeah.
One, it actually kept me more honest. It kept me more disciplined about about using my time effectively. It's like, okay, Courtney, you've given yourself this time, like you got to honor your own office hours.
Yeah.
So this is when you're working. Are you working? Are you available? Are you getting the thing you need to get done? Right. But it was also able to say, hey, I can't do that. I was able to come to people, like when people came to me with requests around work or around wanting to be involved in the things, like, oh, you know what? No, this is when I'm working. This time is available to me. This is unavailable for work. So I can't do this, as opposed to like making promises about being available or offering work that just was too much or like burning out.
Yeah.
And so, my work hard tip really is set boundaries around your time. Stick to your own office hours.
Get your big red on.
Get your big red on. Okay. I don't think you have to hang folks out of windows.
You don't have to hang niggas off a balcony now. You don't have to do that.
Balconies. I don't think you have to do that. But
if you got to,
was wrong in a lot of ways, but he wasn't wrong about setting boundaries around his time.
Creative boundaries around his time.
He was wrong in a lot of ways. I would still fight that man on the street if I saw him, but that's
today.
That's neither here nor there. That's not the point. The point here is
you know what you did to Jimmy.
You know what he did.
Know what you did to him.
At the funeral. Whatever. That's an aside. Work hard tip is be specific about your time and honor your own office hours. All right. The play hard side of that, which I think is a great question, is like what came to life once that boundary is in place. So you set your boundary around your prices. I set my boundaries around my time. And then what happened on the other side of that boundary?
People stopped questioning the price, which was beautiful. I didn't have to like fight somebody for some money. We weren't going back and forth on prices. And the joy of designing came back again. Like, I love designing. I love making things, which we've stated the last many times.
We're here.
And then like the fun of it came back, because now I'm like, oh, I'm seen as like a respected designer, not somebody who just like makes flyers. So like it was fun. It brought back the joy of designing. It brought back like peace of mind. Like I didn't have to worry about, is this person going to pay me this day? Is this person going to pay me this day? Is this person even going to pay me? Like, so like I get it. And I'm super, I love that I did that.
Amazing. For me, like the time, like I said a bit earlier, it made me a bit more disciplined about when my working time was and when my not working time was, particularly as somebody who works from home. Like I needed to create a boundary, made a time about when I was available. But also again, it allowed me to be more diligent in my word, because I was able to be like, this is the amount of time I have to do this. Yes, I can do this, or no, I can't.
Yeah.
And I was just able to make some really clear boundaries and choices and like find work that I really enjoyed. And I will also say, I recognize that like naming any type of boundary can be really hard. And my tip for boundaries, because I do love a boundary, like one, understanding that a boundary is about you and your behavior. It's not about what other people do, right?
That's super real.
Like so many people assume that like boundaries are rules that other people have
to follow.
No, boundaries are, so like my time boundary is like, I work from A to B.
Yeah.
That's a boundary other people don't even actually have to know. Frankly, right?
That's a boundary other people don't even have to know.
They don't even have to know. It's just, this is when I'm available to do the work. I look at my week and somebody's like, hey, can you do this for me? And then my answer can either be, yeah, I have space for that, or no, I don't have space for that.
And that's the end of it.
And that's the end of it. I don't have to tell them when I could do it. It was like there. And if I wanted to negotiate, I could even say, you know, I would have to make this adjustment. Mm-hmm. Like, does that work for you? It's like, or I might be able to do this, but I won't be able to do this for 4 to 6 weeks from now. Does that timeline align? But again, the boundary is not anything they actually have to know.
The concept of the boundary is, I really like how you said that. The boundary is not for other people.
It's not right. It's not about them. It's not really about their behavior. It's about my behavior. It's about my limits.
Yeah.
Right. And so the first thing around, like, my first tip around communicating a boundary is like, sometimes you don't have to communicate it. You just have to practice it.
Come on now.
Right.
I didn't know. I thought today was Saturday. I know it was Sunday. I know he was preaching today.
Right. But I'm saying you don't. You just have to practice it. You don't have to communicate it necessarily.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can. If you're like, hey, particularly if you're shifting an agreement or if you're shifting some relationship, like, hey, this is what I'm going to do. But like, you don't have to tell people necessarily, I don't negotiate prices anymore.
Yeah.
That invites a lot of conversation, a lot of things. It's like, no, you're just like, here's the price. Here's the price.
Yeah.
That boundary is within you, right? And then again, holding your boundary isn't about their behavior. If somebody calls me after the work hour, I just don't answer.
Yeah.
I might send an email or a text like, hey, I can, and I don't apologize for it. It's simply, hey, I can talk at this time. This is the time when I'm available.
And this ties back to the hustle culture that it is now, where it's like, I just got to get this bread at any cost. And then you look up and you've not only burned yourself out, but now you've started to resent this relationship that you're building because you're not setting core boundaries in your body.
Right.
This is why we made this motherfucking podcast.
Right. The other thing is you've also burned through your relationships.
Yeah.
Because you're like so focused on whatever, on the wrong hustle. I don't want to call it a hustle because I don't think that, but you're so focused on generating capital.
Yeah.
You're so focused on extracting from people that you don't take care of the relationships. And so nobody wants to like answer the phone to the person who only calls when they want something.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I know that this phone call, this person's name on my phone is going to not give me any money. It's not going to not give me any kindness. And it's going to take up so much of my time.
Not any kindness. Right. Is dummy real.
You know, where you're like, I'm not going to get anything from this phone call but heartache and a deadline. And I don't want it.
Heartache and a deadline is the name of my memoir.
Heartache and a deadline, no. But then there's some people who call where I know it's like, oh, this call is going to be work. And it's work I want to do because this person also takes care of me. This person, I also have a healthy relationship. This is the person who I would violate my own boundary for, but it's not violating because now I've consented. One, I know what my boundaries are, but two, okay, this is the person I'll show up for. They're going to ask me some nonsense.
Yeah.
But because the relationship is, I'm going to do it.
I'm going to do it. Yeah.
And so, you know, work hard, play hard strategies, make the boundaries that you need. Find the joy on the other side and realize that you don't have to tell people what your boundaries are. You just have to do them.
You just have to do them.
Just have to do them. Because it's not about their behavior. It's about your behavior.
Wow.
Look at us.
Look at us.
So folks, if you are listening, we would love to hear creative boundaries that you're proud of. What's the boundary or limitation that you've had to set? What's something that like works? So share your thoughts with Tyrone. Via Instagram at Tied to the Game, TYEDTOTHEGAME, or you can share it with me, also on IG at arts_Courtney, ARTS_COURTNEY.
Millennials, we love an underscore, man.
I do. I'm an elder millennial, and I did like an underscore. Yes. So y'all, that has been the very first episode of Hustlin' with the Harges.
Come on now, in the bag. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up.
We did
in the bag.
We made it. So Tyrone, what's one thing you hope that people take away from this first episode?
That we're ridiculous.
Correct.
And that we're going on a journey of creative expression and creative growth. And we would love for y'all to be a part of this growth with us. Whether you have a sibling or not, guess what? You just got 2 new siblings.
we do love to adopt siblings.
You get to hear our crazy antics and our love for film and like media in general. And you get to listen to how crazy we are, which we love. I hope just people take from this episode, one, and all the things Tyrone just said. I hope you lean into the kind of messy and perfect parts of your creative process, like that you work with us, that we're just here trying to figure it out together. And I hope that connects or resonates with you in some way. And I hope you come back. I hope you're like, you know what? I want to wait the probably 2 weeks to get the next one. And I want to hear what's up with the Harges as they hustle, as we out here hustling. All right. And one last kind of deep question to close us out. What's a creative tip or tip in general that you give your younger self, Tyrone? What's a creative tip I would give myself? Don't stop drawing. I gave up drawing like really early because I didn't feel like I was good at it, which is a very common thing for early age Tyrone. If I didn't feel like I was good at something, I just would stop doing it. And so younger Tyrone, if I could go back and to tell him to keep drawing, it would change a trajectory for me.
My creative tip would probably be get into a journaling habit. I wish I journaled. I like journals. I like writing, but I never because I didn't get into it as a habit. I think I missed out on just being able to like put some things in writing.
Yeah.
The other tip that's not a creative tip that I'd give my younger self is be single in college. Any young people listening, be single in college. You just do it. It all worked out, but I'm telling you, that's just excellent advice.
Excellent advice.
But the intellectual is journaling. Just I wish I would have developed a journal.
Oh, I guess I don't. What's my non-intellectual one?
What's your non-intellectual tip?
Yeah, start recording when you're playing video games.
Oh yeah,
just set up a camcorder.
Good old camcorder.
Set up a camcorder. Point it at the TV and just start playing. After you'll figure it out.
Right.
But know that you're onto something and that you can probably pay off your house. So
things we do. Buy Apple stock now. We want to
buy Apple stock. Yes.
So yeah, we're excited to bring you episode 2.
Yes.
It'll be more sibling nonsense. We'll introduce some new segments. If you enjoyed our particular brand of Harge related nonsense,
yes,
subscribe, rate, review, tag us on Instagram, Threads, whatever social media.
Yeah, all the socials.
Yes, share with your friends. Share with siblings who you're like, you know what, you should do this. Share with creative people.
Yes,
who want to be engaged. Know that your grandma probably shouldn't listen, or maybe she should. We don't judge. If she cool, we cool.
We don't listen. We listen. We don't judge.
We listen. We don't judge. And we hope that you listen and you only judge a little bit.
Just a little. Just a little judgment. I'm okay with a little judgment.
All right. Thank y'all. Have a
beautiful day.
And we'll see y'all soon.
Bye.